The first thing on the agenda, obviously, aside from opening the meeting to 4:30 p.m. on April 1st, we have on the agenda the approval of the minutes for the last meeting that we had last school year, which was on March 5th. Believe it or not, at that time we were still meeting in person. We met at the high school. And the minutes, I believe it is my understanding that were shared with you. Could you let me know if that's the case, if you all received the minutes from that last meeting? Oh, here's Amy. She made it just in time.
Made it, sorry.
Yes, no problem. So the minutes should have been shared with you so that you
just got them.
Yeah, would have reviewed them in advance, and we can approve the minutes from the last meeting to continue with the agenda for this meeting. So I saw some heads saying yes, that you received the minutes so that they could be reviewed and we could approve them today, and others were saying no. So I'm going to pass the baton to Amy in terms of how she wants to proceed. If she wants, I can project the minutes for people to just take a quick glance at them, and then we can proceed approving them, or we can approve with what the members already have at hand. What would be your pleasure, Amy?
If you can share with the members, that'd be great.
Okay, so let's see. I am not as familiar with using Zoom as I am with Google Meet, so let me see how I can share here. I hope I have share rights. I'm not seeing in my buttons any share rights at all.
You should have a share screen in the green icon at the bottom. And then
I see it, Mike. Thank you.
Click that, you should be good.
All right, so what am I supposed to do next, Mike? I'm selecting all panelists and then it's not doing anything.
When you click on share screen, you should get a pop-up window that shows you,
I see it
whatever
now.
you have, and then in the bottom right, share.
Yeah, it didn't pop up before. It popped up now. Okay, so I believe I may be sharing now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so if I can move this. All right, so this is, hopefully if you pin me, I don't know, that's how it works in Google Meet, you can see the minutes better, but this is the minutes from the last meeting. They are unapproved, and we just need you to take a look at them for approval. And it starts with the welcoming of the new members. Then we had an update from Sodexo. Karen Witherell, our state representative, spoke at the meeting about the initiative of Stop Hunger, which was a grant that was provided to the middle schools and high schools. We had each school discuss about updates of wellness at their schools. So we had the schools report on mental health and also on the initiatives that are going on in their own buildings regarding wellness. Then we discussed vaping. We talked about the annual report that's required of this committee at the end of every year. We talked about updating the policy, which I think is on this agenda. And the last thing that we covered at that meeting was we had March 5th, a special meeting with the town. And we had I think it's a TILO. TILO initiative that was introduced to us by the town, and OCYL Liz Lemaire talked, with Kyle Quadros, I believe is his name, regarding this initiative. Nothing was really decided, but it was an introduction to the committee of what they have in mind, and then that was the meeting. So, would anyone make a motion to approve the minutes of March? It's the meeting on March. I'm not seeing the date. Why am I not seeing the date? 5th?
Yep, March 5th.
I'll move to approve, Mrs. Carbonic. It's Mrs. Malcolm.
Excuse me, can I just mention on I was a little confused because on the document that was shared, it says February 6, 2020. That's what it had on, if you go back, see if you can look up on the top on the PDF, the name.
You are correct, yes. Yes, it is. You're correct. I'm sorry about that, Karen. It says the committee held the meeting on Thursday, February 6, 2019 at 4 p.m. So the motion will be to approve the minutes from the meeting on February 6.
There are minutes from, hold on, sorry. I just walked in the house. I'm trying to,
I know, it just feels
Okay.
like so long ago, and Amy's
It-
just
it
starting
was.
new at the committee, so we just
Yes.
gotta kind of pick up the pieces.
yes, she found the minutes. There are minutes from March 5th. I think the date just isn't changed on there. Hold on, sorry.
Are you finding in the wellness folder other minutes, Amy, or is that just
I
a
know that
mistake on the minutes that we had that the date wasn't changed?
Cindy shared it with me. Here we go. Open in docs. It says Thursday, March 5th. So if you want, I can share my screen instead, because this is the approval of the minutes from the 6th and everything. So hold on. Sorry, everyone. I promise I will be better next time.
That's okay. Those were the ones that I found that said unapproved on them. So,
Okay, yeah, this is meeting minutes unapproved from Thursday, March 5th at 4 o'clock, 2020. Members present, approval of minutes from February. TILO presentation, Kyle Quadros. So hold on. Okay. So can people see that?
yes.
Okay, so here are the minutes. So basically it was the approval of the minutes here from March 5th. We had the approval of the minutes from February 2nd. The TILO presentation that Kyle Quadros did to the committee members that were present. I also have a copy of that because I wasn't on the committee at that point, but I can send that out to people for anyone else who did not see that at that meeting. He basically talked about the ACEs campaign and the ACEs that are affecting all students right now, and how teachers and administrators and just stresses that people are learning to work with. And he went through that. He went through Cumberland data. He talked about the PD and trying to kind of look ahead to what could be done. But this was basically just an overview of the program that he ran at the time. So it's just kind of all of that. But then once all of that happened, everything came to a grinding halt with COVID. So one of the things that we actually want to pick up on again this year is working with Liz Lemire and Dr. Santa and looking at this presentation and seeing what can be brought into the schools. But again, I'm happy to share that because it was shared with me. But that's what the entire meeting was his presentation. Then there were no public comments, and then adjourned at 5:40.
Amy, can
Yes.
that be put into the Google folder? Because that was great that you
Yes.
shared that. So if it can get dropped in there?
Yes, when I
Along
figure
with
out
the
how to do that, I will do that.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Okay. All right, so is there a motion to approve these correct minutes?
Lisa Dancerous.
I'll approve. Mrs. Malcolm?
Okay, approval, Mrs. Malcolm. Can I have a second?
Second,
Okay. Thank you. All right. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Mrs. Rogalski, this is
Yes.
Christy Pat, and just
Hi.
a real quick,
Yes.
when we weren't sure if you were gonna be on time, I had said I would take notes. Do you want me to take the minutes, or are you gonna take your own minutes?
If you could take the minutes this time, that would be great. I'm feeling a little flustered at the moment.
That's fine. I just didn't want to overstep. Yep, I'm on it.
No, you are welcome to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Amy, I had asked Christy to do it, and she always does a fantastic job.
Great. Yes, I am happy to let you and Mrs. Carbonic take over. You know exactly what you're doing, and I am learning as I go. So, yes. All right, so that was the first. The next item on the agenda is to welcome new members. So I know that I am a new member, but I know that one of the things we wanted to do was kind of try to refresh the committee and see if people can, just get some new people, a new lifeblood in the committee, and see, because this is a time where, in speaking with so many people and in seeing the meetings, Mrs. Carbonic and Mrs. Malcolm both made it a point to say that, and anyone can realize that this is absolutely a time where student health and wellness is at the forefront of all of our minds. I think emotional health and wellness, physical health and wellness, etc. So we are happy that you are all here and have decided to join us. And I think that takes care of that. The next item on the agenda is the discussion and or vote on proposed policy changes to the district wellness policy. This was undertaken last year before COVID. I believe Jen Bernard.
Amy,
yes.
I'm sorry. Before we get to ahead in the agenda, I know that because it's the first time that we meet this year, a lot of the committee members don't know each other.
I'm so sorry.
And we may not know each other's roles, which is kind of important in this for this committee, because we do have representatives that come with certain expertise into the committee. So if you wouldn't mind, could we take a moment to have people introduce themselves and just kind of state their roles so that we can get to know each other?
Yeah, that is a great idea. Sorry.
No problem.
All right. You want to start with Mrs. Malcolm?
I am Deb Malcolm, principal at Cumberland Hill Elementary. I've worked in the district for about 24 years now, first as a speech language pathologist at community school for about 21 years, and most recently as the principal at Cumberland Hill, going on my 5th year. I've been a member of the committee for approximately 3 years now, and I'm hoping that we are refreshed and renewed and are working in a good positive direction to help support not only our students through this pandemic, but also the adults that we work with every day as we move forward. So welcome.
Okay, Ms. Carbonic.
Thank you. I'm Nydia Carbonic. I introduced myself at the beginning, but I'm a principal here at Ashton, been in district for 20 years and have been with the committee since it was born many, many years ago. I don't know how long ago we've had the committee, but it's been a pleasure serving the committee. I have special interest in health and wellness. I was a physical education teacher prior to becoming an administrator. So this is something close and dear to my heart, and ensuring that not only the students, but the staff, that we focus on their health and wellness, so that they can do the best they can do and be the best they can be. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Wetherell.
Good afternoon. I'm Karen Wetherell, and I'm a community member of this Wellness Committee. I'm with Rhode Island Healthy Schools Coalition. We are a statewide nonprofit, and we support district wellness committees across the state and provide from our partners any resources or guidance that we can. And I've been a member, gosh, I feel like kind of since the beginning as well. So it's a great committee, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to just last names now. Okay, Ms. Duncanson.
Hi, I'm Katie Duncanson. I am the HR director for the district. This is my first meeting. I have served on other wellness committees throughout the state, but this is my first Cumberland one. So, yay.
Thank you. Ms. Hurd.
I am Sherry Hurd. I am a phys ed health and adaptive PE teacher at Garvin Elementary School. And this is my 3rd year on the committee. And I'll move on.
Ms. Ducharme.
This is my first year on the committee, and this is my 2nd year in Cumberland. Last year, I was the guidance counselor at community school, and this year I am the 2nd grade teacher at community. And I agree with Nydia. I don't think there's ever been a time that's more pressing to focus on health and wellness, especially right now. So I'm happy to be here.
Ms. Patton.
Hello, I'm Christy Patton. I'm the assistant principal at North Cumberland Middle. This is my 9th year in the district as an administrator. I've been on the committee since we did the big, huge rewrite with Karen. We were a part of 9 schools in the state, districts in the state that did a big rewrite for all of our health and wellness policies. And I am also a former health, PE, and APE teacher. I taught in Connecticut for 11 years before becoming an administrator. I'm happy to be working with all of you and getting on with a little bit of normalcy.
Thank you. Ms. Rogers.
Jen Rogers. I am a phys ed and APE teacher at Cumberland Hill Elementary. Maybe 3rd year on the committee. I don't know, from when Jay was leading everything. And I agree with everybody. It's really important to take a look and kind of rediscuss how we can attack the things that are coming up socially and emotionally with students in our schools and staff as well.
Thank you. Liz.
Hi there, Liz Lemire White here. Thank you so much for inviting me today. It does feel like a million years since I've seen any of you, so it's good. I got my 2nd vaccine today. I hope you all did too. I'm the director at OCYL. I've been here for 10 years, and I was at the Cumberland Public Library for 4 years before that. My kids did go through the Cumberland schools through at least 8th grade. One of them went back for a little bit in high school, but mental health for me, social emotional growth is paramount in terms of what I think our kids need. And obviously they need the whole package, but my kids went through a lot. And so it's kind of become my passion, and here to help out or make connections, whatever it is that we can do. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Merlino.
Hi, everyone. I'm Josh Merlino. I teach phys ed and AP at BF Norton. I've been there for 8 years now. It goes by fast. I joined the committee last year. It was a shortened year, so I'm still relatively new, but excited to get started again.
Dr. Santa.
I'm Dr. Rachel Santa. Rachel is just fine. Let's see, I'm on my 31st year in education, my 17th year as a central administrator, and my 6th year in Cumberland. I've been on and off the wellness committee. I don't necessarily always attend, but I've been here to help with any type of policy change. And I also sit on the childhood, I always get this messed up, childhood trauma learning collaborative with Lisa Parker. So we bring that experience to the team.
Thank you. Ms. Marshall-Kowski.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to you. And I'm very excited to get the committee started again. My name is Donna Mazlakowski. I am the school nurse teacher at Garvin. I am the school nurse coordinator for the district. I came to school at Garvin when I was a child. So my Cumberland is near and dear to my heart. I think I've been in the school district for 25 years. I've been a nurse for probably 38 years. And I'm just excited for all the new members and to get going again.
Thanks. Mr. Masterson.
Afternoon, everyone. Jay Masterson, principal of McCourt Middle School, former co-chair of this committee. I've been at McCourt for 9 years. Health and wellness obviously has an interest in mind for not only personal health, but more importantly for the mental wellness of our students who come to school with such diverse needs and backgrounds. So I'm looking forward to the re-energized group that we have here today.
Thank you. I might say it wrong. Ms. Swartwout?
I was worried for you when you said you were moving to last names. Nora is fine. I'm Nora Swartout. I'm a school psychologist at Ashton School in Cumberland Hill. This is my 5th year in the elementary school. And before that, I was at North Cumberland Middle School for, I think, 7 or 8 years. So we're left with Christy and Jay, and so good to see them on here. And this is my first meeting, so first day, first time on this committee, but I'm excited to be a part of it.
Good, thank you. Ms. Lemieux.
Hi everyone, my name's Ashley Lemieux. I'm a 4th grade teacher at Cumberland Hill. This is my 2nd year in the district, 7th year teaching. And this is my first meeting, but I'm looking forward to being here. And I think it's a real need to be focusing on the health and mental wellness of our students. So I'm looking forward to being part of this team.
Great, thank you. Mr. Blanchard.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eric Blanchard. I'm the athletic director in Cumberland. I believe this is my 2nd year here, and also my 2nd health and wellness meeting. I believe I attended one last February or March before we kind of went on break. So I'm excited to be back and get things going again.
Good. Miss Emery.
Hi, my name is Rachel Emery. I'm the school nurse at North Cumberland Middle School. I started my career as a pediatric nurse at Hasbro Children's Hospital 37 years ago. And about 20 years ago, I went back to school and I became a school teacher. I taught primarily 7th grade science, but I've done 2nd grade and 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then I took a school nurse position, kind of brought my 2 careers together. I think this is my 6th year as a school nurse. I love all of my positions, and I love Cumberland too. I grew up here. I went to Garvin also, and I've had 4 kids who have graduated through the Cumberland system. So I've been a parent, I've worn a lot of different kinds of hats. So I'm just excited to have any input I can have in this committee.
Thank you. And if she's there, Ms. Homan.
Hi, everyone. Christine Homan. I am the assistant principal at both Community and BF Norton. So that's a little bit of a unique position there. I just finished my first full year in the district back in November. So last year was the first part of my being a participant of the Health and Wellness Committee. I know we focus a lot on the health and well-being of our students, and I completely agree with that, but I also want to make sure that we are keeping in mind our teachers. We've seen lots and lots of struggles this year, and I'm interested in seeing what we can put in place to support them when we come back to hopefully some type of normalcy next year. Thank you.
Thank you. And I am Amy Rogalski. This is my first year on the school committee. This is my first committee meeting. This is my first committee. I was a high school Spanish teacher for 5 years, about 15 years ago. My degree is in psychology, so student mental health and just mental health of teachers and everyone is very, very much a passion of mine. So I am extremely motivated to get some work done on that. I have a 1st grader, a 6th grader, and a 9th grader, so I cover all the schools. And I am excited to be here. So I think Ms. Carbonic, is that good?
Yes, thank you.
Fantastic. Just a quick note, I know Dr. Santa, I believe, is coming as well. I do have a meeting at 5:30. I have a budget meeting that I will have to go to. I don't know if you want to stay beyond that point. If you're discussing something, I don't know if that's okay. I'm not really sure how that works, but I don't think the next few things should take too much time, but I just wanted to put that out there. All right, so next on the agenda is the discussion and or vote on the proposed policy changes to the district wellness policy. So as I said, these changes were undertaken last year before COVID. I believe Jen Bernardo worked on them in working with Karen, and I apologize for saying Karen earlier, working with Karen to make the changes. These aren't what we have here, and I'll share it with you for those of you that didn't get a chance to review it, and I apologize. I have never used Google Docs before, so anyone who needed to be granted access that I did not have a chance to grant access to, I apologize for that. The changes that were made are not what I would really call substantive changes right now. A lot of it is to bring the policy in line with current guidelines. And I believe Karen could probably talk a little bit more effectively to that than I could, simply because I don't have the background knowledge on it. But a lot of the changes are, and I'm actually going to share the screen so you can see this. A lot of the changes are just, I'll see if I can make it larger. Oh, too large. Are updating websites or changing language. The first change is under, I don't even know how to read the policy, under section C of, I'm sorry, I'm really bad at this. Basically, it just adds a sentence that an annual communication will be shared through all schools to recruit and welcome new parents and staff members. There was no language in here that said anything like that, but since we are having the committee every year, we do want to put that out there so that new teachers, new parents, anyone who is interested has the ability to join if they would like to. So is there any question on that? Okay. Scrolling down a little bit further. Under nutrition guidelines for school foods and beverages, under food marketing in schools, we just added the language in accordance with Rhode Island general law to the end of B2, which is marketing or promotion of food and beverages that do not meet nutrition standards is prohibited. That's just language. I'm not sure if Karen has anything to say about the addition of the language for that. I can't see her. Everyone's disappeared. There she is.
Yeah, this was just. What section was that under? You said B2?
That is section 3, nutrition guidelines for all school foods and beverages, B2. Well, it's not marked as 2, but it's the second bullet point.
All right.
And it's just to make sure that the source document is there. So there is a Rhode Island general law. So it just says in accordance. And then I believe when we get to the bottom, Amy and I also reviewed the, what do you call it, at the end, where all the links to any of the laws are included.
Yes.
I think we did on this one. I can't remember,
Yeah,
but it is in here. I don't remember if this one is active linked or if they're at the end.
I believe it's at the
The
end.
links are at the end, Karen.
Okay, yeah.
They are, yeah.
All right, scrolling down to the reimbursable meal program, school food service provider operations. It used to say, as part of the district's responsibility to operate a high quality food service program, qualified nutrition professionals will administer the meal program and professional training and development will be offered for all food service staff working in the schools as appropriate for the levels of responsibility. That has been changed to read, it will be offered for all food service staff working in the schools in accordance with USDA professional standards.
And that's required by USDA now. So again, just another item to make sure that it's compliant with either federal or state regulations. And certainly, Sodexo, your food service provider, is very much aware of what those professional standards are and making sure that they're meeting them.
Right, thank you. All right, scrolling down a little bit further. You can see a lot of it has not been changed, which is nice for us for this particular meeting. All right, under recess, I'm sorry, under physical activity, I'm trying to find section A. All right, under physical activity and recess, another part was just added to have that link in accordance with Rhode Island general law for the all elementary schools shall allot a minimum of 20 minutes per day for recess. We just added the in accordance with Rhode Island general law after that to bring us up to compliance and to have that link to the source document. And a little bit further down. Under the wellness policy reporting section, says under, sorry, on the, I'm trying to figure out how this is I don't like how this is marked. On the fourth or fifth bullet point under the wellness policy reporting, we added they added a sentence that said the district wellness committee will be responsible for periodic review of the policy to ensure compliance with new federal or state regulations or inclusion of new evidence-based strategies to address assessment results. So I think Karen could probably tell you, I believe that was one of the standards that needed to be met for the review, correct?
Correct. So that's part of the federal regulations of the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act, so that the committees are, not just back, when I think with Christy, right, when we began this work, it was just required that you had a wellness policy with the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010. Now it's that you have to not just have one, but you have to monitor it, implement it, monitor it, assess it, and in this case, review it. So like we're doing now, to make sure that if there's any updated laws or if there's any new, in the language they suggest, evidence-based strategies or results of the assessments that you do, that those would then be addressed. So I think if you go, can you scroll back up a little bit, Amy?
Sure. How far would you like?
Okay, that's good. Wellness policy reporting. I can't. It's kind of small. I can't really read it. Anyway, I think that we went over it. So I think that that's fine, but that's what it is to be.
Okay. And then after that point, it's just updating sources, providing live sources, updating websites to the correct web addresses. Do I need to specify the exact web addresses for anyone? I'm not sure how that works.
Which ones are the new ones? So there's yellow highlight and red highlight.
Right. Red is the strike through. That was the old.
Oh, okay.
Yellow is the new.
Yep. Okay.
Right.
So again, those were just updating, making sure that they were all correct.
And then there's just some number changes, but that is it. Those are all the changes at this moment that need to be approved by, they should be approved by this committee. And I spoke with Mr. Adams. He said we don't have to take a vote, but of course it always is better to send it to Policy and Procedures Committee with the approval of the subcommittee. As I said, these aren't really substantive changes. There are things that we would like to address that I did not put on the meeting agenda for this time, where there are definitely some changes we could make in our ratings report card. We did pretty well. I think Karen would say we did pretty well, but there are some ratings where we could see some improvement, and there are things that we could change in the policy. But I wanted to put that on a separate meeting when we had more time to kind of get this first one under our belts, if that was okay with everyone.
Amy, did you want me to just explain that a little bit?
Yes, please do.
Okay, just to be sure, everyone, I know certain people who have been on the committee for a while know, but there is something that's a national tool called the WellSat, and it's from the Yukon Rudd Center for Food Policy and Obesity, and it's used by school districts across the country, and it rates policies, the language. The first thing to know is it's not rating whether you're actually doing it, but whether it's being implemented in schools, but it's just the language of your policy. And it does it on two scales. One is comprehensiveness. Are you including areas that should be referenced? And then two is on strength of language. So is it strong? So an example would be if there's something, let's say access to drinking water, strong language would be that that all students and staff have access to free potable water throughout the school day. That would be strong, rather than it's encouraged that there are filling stations or water fountains in schools. So we've done this before, and we basically just go through the policy in accordance with this checklist, and it comes up with scores. So some of those things are either federal regulation or state law, and so you have to have that, and that's what we did. Those are the things that must be in the policy. But there are other things that would be considered gold standards, so they're not required, and those are the things I think Amy's talking about there. And there may be other things that people want to bring forward. and the last thing I just want to mention is that requirement for a policy comes from the USDA, and it says at a minimum what has to be addressed. And those are the areas really that came out of the efforts to reduce childhood obesity and the negative impacts of that. So creating a healthy school environment. So it's looking at the foods that are served and sold, physical activity, physical education. That being said, I would venture to say every district wellness committee in the state of Rhode Island is also, like you, many of you have said, is very much concerned about comprehensive school wellness and is looking very critically at mental health, social emotional health. Some districts have separate policies, like a separate mental health policy. There are some that have embedded within this district wellness policy, have put other provisions in it that pertain to those areas. So if you were wondering why it's not there, because these are minimum requirements, what's required, but certainly they could be included, or this committee may decide to develop a separate policy.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions about the policy or the changes that were made? Yes, Ms. Malcolm.
I just have a comment. When Mrs. Carbonic and I were speaking earlier today, and we talked about the new addition to the policy regarding informing families and staff of the roles and responsibilities of this committee, her suggestion was perhaps developing a brochure that we can send out for families just to help facilitate and to communicate that at the beginning of each school year, which I thought was a great idea. So I just wanted, and maybe we could always, once that's developed, we could include that as a link within the policy itself as well. So I just wanted to put that out there so that it's in the notes so we can follow up with it.
All right, I think that's a great idea. All right, any other questions about this? Okay. Do we want to do a vote, Ms. Carbonic, Ms. Malcolm, on this to send it forward? Okay, so if I could have a motion, please, to send the policy with its current changes to the Policy and Procedures Subcommittee.
Let's do
it. Okay, Ms. Malcolm, second?
I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Duncanson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously to send it to Policy and Procedures. All right, the next item on the agenda, I'm actually going to be handing it over to Ms. Malcolm and Ms. Carbonic, or maybe more Ms. Malcolm at this point. We discussed to kind of get an idea of where to go from here, or some additional ideas, because we already have several things that we would like to address in future meetings, is to get an idea from each of you, because you are all at different schools, of what our students are facing right now. What are the social and emotional issues that you're seeing in your school? And I know I had an email, I believe, from Ms. Cipriano, just saying what they're seeing at the elementary school is quite surprising. So it's really, we're seeing issues at all levels of the school. But I'm going to let Ms. Malcolm take over and kind of explain what she was interested in doing. So Ms. Malcolm.
So one of the things that we had talked about was, what we're seeing previous to the pandemic with our kiddos, but now that is just so much more exacerbated in terms of social emotional needs, problem solving, conflict resolution. But we're also seeing, now that our students have come back to in-person 4 days, more of that, and the need for encouraging of perseverance and well-being. And I'm gonna identify Dr. Santa, who has brought our restorative justice professional development to the leadership team. And at least once a month, if not more, we sit, all of us, and go through what are some trauma-informed strategies that we can implement in our schools, but also then share out with our staff. And it's been very enlightening to see how we can peel back. We have those kids who you feel like, I can't get to them, I can't get to them, I can't get to them. And we've been learning strategies to kind of peel back some of those layers. How do we reach this kiddo? How do we earn trust? And one of the things that resonates with me, not only from this, but also from the work we've done with conscious discipline, is expect this some form of trauma. These kids have been, every single one of them have had some type of trauma, whether it's their Chromebook did not work for a week, or they lost a loved one because of COVID, or they don't have Wi-Fi. So there's there's so many things, and everything can have that impact on a student. And not only is it important for our students to realize this, but also for our staff. And I had a conversation with a staff member today, and I said, people are saturated. People are saturated with, I don't know how else, COVID. And I don't mean that they're but they're just done with it. And so you can understand if somebody is having a bad day, we have to look at that from an understanding perspective. So I just wanted to kind of get a feel and see, I'm sure we're all seeing a lot of similar situations at our schools, and just kind of get a feel for, what are our next steps? I know the elementary principals, we're doing a book study for our PGG on social emotional learning, and we read it, we do a discussion as a group, and then we share out our notes with our staff. And some staff have actually come back to me and said, oh my gosh, we're using this, we're leaving sticky notes to leave positive messages for our students, and it has a positive impact. And again, we have these kiddos for 6 hours a day, but if we can be that positive light and that positive source for those kids during that 6 hours, that in itself is a win. And I don't know, Dr. Santa, if you, before your next meeting, if you want to tap in a little bit more on that, but we just wanted to get a feel of what are we observing, what are we seeing with our kiddos, and what can we do to support the students, and how do we help to support our staff in that as well?
I'll piggyback on restorative justice in that we're starting with the leadership team because, and that means all of the principals, school principals, assistant principals, as well as some of the teacher leaders or principals in training. And then the intention is to go down to the schools and work with the leadership within the schools and the teachers and then eventually the students. So it is a process over a little bit of time here, but the training is pretty extensive. We just finished our third 2.5 hour, almost 3 hour training. We have 2 more to go to be certified restorative justice. Yeah, I actually have to say that I think I am concerned about kids, but I do know that once we get them into routines and they get back into the adjustment of school, I think we're still going to have issues because we always will have issues, but I feel like the kids will come back quicker. I'm very concerned about our teaching staff and our teachers, our principals, our leadership. I'm really concerned about the adults because we're going on a year grind of just constant change and just constant stuff. And I've been known to say, like, some days I'm like, geez, I feel like I'm spread so thin that I don't want to lose me. Like lose myself and being spread thin. I think a lot of us, I know that I have restorative practices for myself, but I do worry about our staff. We've had several with breakdowns and a lot more crying than we've ever seen. So I'm worried about our kids, absolutely, but I'm really worried about our staff and faculty. I don't have a solution to that.
Thank you. Well, one of the things that, and I was just looking through my notes, I have a notebook for when we do our PD, and it was, that shift, it's an adult mind shift too, from punitive to restorative, and that it's not discipline, it's coaching and teaching and modeling and processing. And And I think we've really had some good modeling with Jim Field, you know, in the district. You know, I work closely with Nora Swordwow. You know, what are we doing? How do we approach it? Our guidance counselors. It's the approach, the language. It's how we're regulating ourselves. So I just wanted to throw this out there because it's that mental health piece that Amy was talking about earlier that is so important for every member of our school community. And as we continue to recover emotionally and socially from this, what do we need to do as a district to improve, to help support?
If I could piggyback again, we were, I would say, very understaffed in the mental health realm prior to COVID. And now we're even more severely, with all the additional work, we're really understaffed. And that's my biggest concern in a district where we're having struggles with trying to have a balanced budget, which about reminds me of the meeting I'm going into next, right? I'm concerned about how to meet all the needs with such limited resources. Because if you looked at the notes from last February, it was talking about how we felt understaffed in supporting students. And now we're post-COVID. So I don't have brilliant solutions to that, but that is a really valid concern of how to meet the need. I'm feeling very like I'm making everyone depressed. Maybe we need to take a mindful moment, take a deep breath.
No.
If I could just suggest, there's so many needs of the staff, and it's just not one thing is going to fix or fulfill the needs of our adults and our students. And I'm just thinking that it's going to take some time to formulate some answers or come up with some ideas and suggestions. So could we do a Google Doc or something that we can share among the committee where we can throw in links, like if somebody knows of a yoga place or some, resources out there that we could provide to our staff so that they can have choices and they can, see what fulfills their needs. I know at one point we were sharing things about yoga and about different places offering different fitness activities or anything that, we could offer to the staff that they could tap into would be useful. But it's, I think we all know the issues. What I want to get to is that a lot of times we talk about it, but
it's a solution.
We need to get to a solution. So, and we have so many people here on screen that I'm looking at that is such a great network of people that you may know of different resources that we principals or other people don't know about. So if we could set up a Google Doc, or if there's a way that we could come up in which we can share and start throwing in our ideas together that we can say to, share with principals and with each building and say, these are the things that are available out there, and let people pick and choose what fits their schedule and their needs.
Nydia, I've been sharing quite a few things through the clip and all through all last year. And I thought a lot of those things went to our district website. We'd have to double check with Mike, but I think there was a lot of links for supports. And the other thing, I said I didn't have any solutions, but that's not really true. We're doing restorative justice training, and I am going to recommend an additional training that we can do completely for free for teachers called STAT. It's a program talking about people that take on secondary stress. So when the students are stressed, how you take on their stress. And it's very, very consumable, as in very easy. It just is, it's really easy to watch. It has interviews with teachers, but they're not these big, long videos. They're like maybe 1 to 2 minutes long, and it's completely for free. So I have looked at that, and I wanted to bring that up to our leadership meeting, our principal meeting, because we would need time to do that. I think the entire training is an hour and a half, but it can be broken up into 5 sections that we could do over the next couple of months and get it done maybe during faculty meetings. So that's something that I would highly recommend, just because it's not too long, because I'm also concerned about about adding things to people's plates, right? The teachers don't need one more thing. So if we're doing something like that, it needs to be it's taking clinical, I think we talked about in a clinical consult meeting, and just talked about how it's very approachable content, because some of these classes are really intense. Like if anyone's taken the Yale class that Ride was recommending, it's intense. It's a lot of work and a lot of, not work, but a lot of hours and a lot of intense. This was much more consumable. And what was nice about it is it actually interviewed teachers. So they would interview a teacher, like could do like a little mini case study for like a minute and a half, and then you got to reflect on it. So it was kind of I thought a really nice way. I'll send the link out to the folks on the committee as well as to all the principals.
I think what Nydia suggested is a great idea too. We have, I have a couple of staff members, and during their prep period, they walk outside, and it has just allowed them to, for lack of better terms, escape the building and escape, and just, they walk every day, and they've improved from an 18-minute mile, I was told today, to a 12-minute walking mile. And it's lowered somebody's blood pressure. It gets them out of the building. So any idea that we can put into that Google Doc, any and every idea is a good idea. And that's, that's during the school day, which is great. And they're just walking the perimeter of the building. So we can certainly, Nydia and I can take care of that. That's for sure. Anything else to talk about that? I know that a few people have another meeting to go to, and we wanted to talk about scheduling regular committee meetings. Amy, did you want to move on to that? Does anybody else have anything they want to add to, developing some ideas for the social emotional well-being of students and staff, or we can start the Google Doc? Hearing none.
Go ahead. Oh, Liz. That's one.
Yeah,
Liz.
Can add to that.
Yeah, I just wanted
Does
to
anybody hear
add.
me?
Oh, sorry, Christine.
Oh, Christine speaking. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I'm actually speaking and driving at the same time. I apologize. So I was, the elementary principals are doing that book study for some of the teachers at BF that are being evaluated this year. They've taken on the same book. So they've got together and they're doing something similar to what the administrators are doing. And they are actually being part of a group that's going to share out and at either a faculty meeting or our next PD on the work that they've done. So it's coming from the teachers. It's been very powerful. It's been excellent. We've gotten together in the morning prior to school, and it's kind of, gotten us pumped up for the day. Every time we've met 2 or 3 times already.
What's the name of that book again? Just because I'm trying to throw stuff in the notes.
Social emotional learning and the brain.
Got it.
Yeah,
it's really good.
It's very good.
Right. Liz, you want to go ahead?
Yes, I just wanted to mention that the other part of supporting the students are the other adults in their lives, in addition to the teachers, is their parents. And I know that's not the goal of this committee necessarily, but I think it's important to remember that parents really need to be taking care of themselves, and we need to be supports for them in order for their children to be well. One of the ideas, one of the pieces that I'd like to implement is really an ACEs awareness campaign. Not sure how I could do that just yet, because I've got another program that I'm launching in the middle school, but I think anybody who's aware of the adverse childhood experiences, you know that when you tell somebody about it who has never heard of it before, it's surprising data. There's surprising information that comes out that every classroom in Cumberland has kids in there with ACEs and some kind of trauma. The other piece was just a follow up on Kyle Quadros and Tilo. Kyle has been working for the state on the COVID plan, so he has not been implementing his nonprofit work from his foundation. And So he's kind of waiting to see what the LEAP recommendations have been from the state and where districts fall in terms of interest in moving forward. The first step, if Cumberland were interested, would be a needs assessment. So much like you are all talking about what is happening at each of your schools, they or another organization could be somebody that comes in and helps facilitate a needs assessment through all of the schools, looking at the students, looking at the teachers, and looking at your staff.
So Liz, we have done some work already in that area. We've completed an SK survey within all the schools that has already identified need areas and have worked on already PD related to those need areas. So in November PD Day, we did a district-wide trauma-based learning training, half-day training for the entire district as part of that needs assessment that was completed. So I'm not saying no to title, I'm just saying that we've already done quite a bit of work of figuring out what areas, and the two biggest areas was understanding kind of self-regulation and mental health of students, and the other area was equity and you know, in race, gender, all those different areas of equity. So those were the two big areas that in general came up across the whole district of all the people, staff that took that particular survey. So I just wanted to give that little update too.
That's great. I hadn't heard.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel, just to bounce off of that at community, we actually used that SK data and created one of our health and wellness goals for the SIT plan is actually based around that data. So we incorporated it into our SIT plan.
All right. Does anyone else have any other comments on this before we move on? Okay, I know there is a lot. We could sit here for hours and discuss this, and I would love to. But I do know, I think we plan also to reach out to you, Liz, to discuss some of the ACEs awareness that you had spoken of, and we can talk with Dr. Santa as well. There's a lot, but I love the Google Doc idea to keep the ideas. So we will get a link out to everyone on the committee for that, to add resources that can be shared.
Amy, could
Yes.
I don't mean to interrupt. I just want
No,
to,
it's
I
fine.
want to make sure you all knew that because I don't see high school here. They did quite a bit of work with ACEs at the high school over, not during COVID, but prior to COVID, where Lisa Parker was doing some PD with the staff regarding, and everyone took the ACEs test, and then they talked about what their number meant from how many of them had those traumas. So there has been some work already in the district regarding ACEs too. It doesn't mean there can't be more. I just want you to be aware that it's not something that's foreign to the district or hasn't been starting to be worked on.
Fantastic. I know Eric's here, but I don't know if the other person.
Sorry, Eric, I didn't mean to besmirch you.
One of the things that came up was, and the next item on the agenda is scheduling of regular committee meetings, just to make sure that people are coming. We wanted to kind of schedule it out so that everyone would always have this date available, so that we hopefully would not see a drop off in membership, since it's easier to accomplish things when we have members come. The set date for this committee, that what happened last year, was the first Thursday of every month. The time can be determined, but that was what was done before, and I think that's the easiest, just to keep it. However, we also, Ms. Carbonic, Ms. Malcolm, and I discussed that we wanted to alternate meetings, so that one month it would be the full district committee, whereas the next month you meet with your local school-based committee and kind of bring back what we've talked about here to your school. And I think now more than ever that is important. However, I did want to try, because there is so much for us to be doing, I did want to try and have a regular meeting next month, which would be the first Thursday, and that would be May 6th would be the next date for that. That's the first Thursday of next month, but go ahead and have a this committee meeting, just so that we can kind of get going on some other goals. And kind of have some things accomplished. I don't know if anyone objects to that, but other than that, I don't have anything else on the schedule, but just that first Thursday, so you can mark it out on your calendars. It will always be the first Thursday of the month. All right, any questions on that? Okay, seeing none. There are no members of the public here because it's all 20 of us that I can see. Perfect, so we don't need members. Any other comments or thoughts or anything before we end? No? Okay,
Just
great.
want to thank you, Amy. This is a huge undertaking, and thank you for being so brave. And you know, we're in this together. And thank you to everyone for taking time today to meet. This is we've got some work to do, but it's really good work, and we're going to move forward. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for being here, and it's nice to see your faces.
Yes, thank you, all of you. We really appreciate it. I'm excited to see what we can do. If I can just get a motion to adjourn. Motion, Ms. Malcolm, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Emery. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Thank you, everyone, so much. I'll see you next month.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.